Most people spend their lives believing that one day they will finally arrive, not necessarily at a place, but at a version of themselves that no longer feels unfinished. A little wiser, a little calmer, a little more successful, a little more loving, a little more awakened. Life quietly becomes a sequence of improvements. There is always another habit to build, another belief to release, another lesson to learn, another level of consciousness to reach. Even the spiritual path can become another form of self-improvement. Instead of chasing success, you begin chasing enlightenment. Instead of collecting achievements, you collect insights. Instead of asking, how do I become successful? The question becomes, how do I become fully awake? But underneath, the movement is often exactly the same. The nervous system remains organized around arrival. It quietly assumes that peace exists somewhere ahead of this moment. That one more breakthrough, one more understanding, one more transformation will finally allow you to relax. Yet no matter how much changes, another destination quietly appears, another horizon, another version of yourself waiting to be reached. And perhaps the deepest question is not how to become that person. Perhaps it is whether the constant movement toward becoming has been preventing you from noticing the effortless life that has been moving through you all along. The mind rarely tells you that you are enough exactly as you are. Instead, it offers a quiet promise. Just one more step, one more insight, one more accomplishment, one more breakthrough, then everything will finally settle. It is such a familiar pattern that most people never question it. It simply feels like life. But beneath that pattern is something much deeper. The separate sense of self cannot exist without a future to move toward. Its entire structure is organized around unfinished business. There is always another destination. I'll be enough when I'll finally relax after, when I understand this, when I heal this, when I become more confident, when I become more spiritual, when I finally stop struggling. Every sentence quietly postpones peace, not because these goals are wrong, but because the nervous system has learned to organize itself around becoming rather than being. Even genuine growth can become another form of psychological effort. You begin meditating so you can become more peaceful. You seek awareness so you can become more awakened. You practice presence so that one day you will finally arrive at presence. The destination keeps changing, but the underlying movement remains exactly the same. There is always someone who believes they have not yet become what they should be. This creates a very subtle but constant tension inside the body. The future becomes emotionally charged. The present becomes a waiting room. Life is no longer experienced directly. It is continually measured. Every conversation becomes evidence of progress or failure. Every relationship becomes something to improve. Every challenge becomes another test. Every emotion becomes another problem to solve. Without noticing it, your entire experience becomes organized around future completion. But the body never actually lives there. It never experiences tomorrow. It never feels next year. It never touches the imagined version of you that exists somewhere ahead. The body only ever knows this breath, this sensation, this conversation, this moment. And because it only knows now, every attempt to postpone peace creates conflict within the system itself. One part of you is always reaching forward. Another part is quietly asking to be here. This is why becoming can feel so exhausting, not because growth requires energy, but because identity is constantly resisting the only place life is actually happening. The deeper irony is that the search itself keeps the seeker alive. As long as there is someone trying to arrive, there must also be somewhere else to go. The search creates the one who is searching, and the more completely that movement is believed, the more distant simple being begins to feel. Yet perhaps nothing has ever been missing. Perhaps what has felt like incompleteness has been the nervous system's lifelong habit of looking away from the only place where life has ever been unfolding. One of the greatest fears the mind carries is this: if I stop striving, I'll stop living. It imagines that without ambition, nothing would happen. Without pressure, there would be no achievement. Without constant effort, life would simply become passive. This fear feels convincing because for most of your life, action has been inseparable from becoming. You learned to move because you wanted to arrive. You worked to become successful. You studied to become knowledgeable. You exercised to become healthier. You meditated to become peaceful. Nearly every action carried a psychological destination. So it is natural to assume that if the destination disappears, movement must disappear with it. But something very different begins to reveal itself. When the psychological need to become gradually dissolves, life does not become empty. It becomes astonishingly alive. Action continues. In many ways, it becomes even more intelligent than before, not because you have learned a better strategy, but because the interference has begun to disappear. Chapter 10 points toward a profound shift. Doing does not end when the separate doer softens. What ends is the constant claim of authorship. The body no longer moves to defend an identity. It no longer acts to complete an imagined self. Instead, action begins arising from the same stillness that once seemed completely inactive. You begin noticing something subtle. Thought still appears, but only when it is useful. It is no longer filling every moment with commentary. It arrives naturally, does its work, and quietly dissolves again. Words come without endless rehearsal. You no longer spend hours constructing the perfect response before a conversation. Listening becomes more important than preparing. The appropriate words simply appear when they are needed. The body starts responding instead of reacting. There is space where urgency used to live. There is clarity where overthinking once dominated. You still make decisions. You still create. You still build businesses, write books, raise children, lead organizations, care for the people you love. From the outside, your life may look remarkably similar. The difference is almost entirely invisible. Nothing is being done to prove that you matter. Nothing is trying to complete an identity. Nothing is secretly asking life for permission to feel whole. Action has become expression rather than compensation. This changes the texture of everything. Effort loses its heaviness. Responsibility loses its burden. Achievement loses its emotional weight. You can work wholeheartedly without becoming psychologically attached to what your work says about you. You can create without needing your creation to define you. You can love without trying to secure yourself through another person. Action becomes remarkably clean. It arises, it completes itself, then it lets go. Nothing needs to be carried forward as identity. Yesterday's success does not need protecting. Yesterday's failure does not need defending. Each moment is free to complete itself before the next one begins. This is why stillness is no longer experienced as the opposite of movement. Stillness becomes the source of movement. The quieter the system becomes, the more precisely life can respond through it. Instead of forcing reality into your plans, you begin participating in what each moment is already asking for. Life starts moving in rhythms rather than rigid plans. Sometimes the movement is outward, creative, relational, generative. Sometimes it is inward, rest, silence, integration. Neither is better, neither needs justification. Both belong to the same intelligence. The mind once believed freedom meant controlling every movement. But perhaps freedom has always been something much simpler. Perhaps freedom is what remains when nothing inside you is resisting the movement that is already trying to happen. A river does not struggle to discover where it should flow. It responds to the landscape exactly as it is. It bends when it must. It slows when conditions change. It gathers strength where the current opens. Its intelligence is not found in forcing itself forward. It is found in never arguing with its own nature. Perhaps human life was never meant to unfold differently. Perhaps the deepest expression of being is not becoming someone extraordinary. It is allowing life to move through you with so little resistance that action becomes as natural as breathing, as effortless as the river finding its way to the sea. Perhaps freedom has never meant withdrawing from life. Perhaps it has never meant doing less. Perhaps it has simply meant interfering less with the intelligence that has always been moving through you. For most of your life, action has probably begun before you even noticed it. Not because life was calling you to move, but because tension was. An uncomfortable feeling appeared. Uncertainty surfaced. The body tightened. Almost immediately, the mind searched for something to do, something to fix, something to improve, something to become. Movement was organized around escaping the discomfort of this moment. But something begins to change as the nervous system settles. You discover that action no longer needs to begin with contraction. The body stops bracing itself around imagined outcomes. It no longer assumes that every decision carries the weight of your future identity. Without that pressure, something remarkably simple returns. Listening. Not listening as a technique. Not listening because someone told you to be mindful, but listening because there is finally enough space inside you to notice what life is already communicating. The body listens before it acts. Thought appears when it is useful. Silence remains when it is not. There is no need to manufacture spontaneity, no method for creating flow, no strategy for becoming effortless. Those too belong to the old movement of becoming. Instead, effort begins relaxing on its own, not because you have mastered a new practice, but because there is less internal resistance creating unnecessary friction. Responsiveness quietly returns. You stop forcing answers before the questions have fully revealed themselves. You stop rushing decisions simply to escape uncertainty. You stop filling silence because you have become uncomfortable inside it. Action begins arising from direct contact with the present instead of pressure from the future. Each moment reveals what is needed next, not through dramatic intuition, not through extraordinary mystical experiences, but through the quiet intelligence of a system no longer arguing with reality. This is the profound simplicity Chapter 10 points toward. Non-doing is not the absence of movement. It is the absence of interference. When the nervous system is no longer organized around becoming someone or arriving somewhere, responsiveness naturally returns. Life expresses itself through the body with a precision that effort could never manufacture. You may still work with great dedication. You may still create beautiful things. You may still lead, teach, build, and contribute, but none of it feels like carrying yourself uphill. There is a lightness beneath the movement, not because life has become easier, but because the one who believed it had to carry life has begun to soften. Perhaps this has always been what effortless action means, not that life asks less of you, but that less of you stands in the way. You are no longer trying to become someone capable of living. Life itself begins living through you, and perhaps that has been true from the very beginning. Only now there is finally enough stillness to notice it. Perhaps you have never been unfinished. Perhaps nothing essential has ever been missing from you. Only the habit of believing that something was. For so much of life, the mind quietly measured your worth against an imagined future, a future where you would finally become enough, enough to relax, enough to belong, enough to stop searching. But perhaps the feeling of incompleteness never belonged to your true nature. Perhaps it belonged only to the identity that believed it was constantly becoming. Life has never demanded that you become more than you are. It has never required you to earn your place within it. It has never asked you to perfect yourself before participating fully. It has simply continued moving, quietly, patiently, moment after moment, inviting you into the same effortless movement. The river does not improve itself before it flows. It does not question whether it is ready. It does not compare itself to other rivers. It does not wait until every obstacle has disappeared. It flows because nothing inside it argues with its own nature. Perhaps the deepest freedom is not found in becoming extraordinary. Perhaps it is found in no longer resisting the ordinary intelligence that has always been carrying your life. Perhaps this moment is not another step toward becoming someone else. Perhaps it is simply another opportunity to notice what has never stopped moving beneath every effort, every ambition, every search, and every achievement. The quiet intelligence that breathes without instruction, that listens without effort, that responds without force, that has been living you long before you believed you were living life. And perhaps that has always been the art of being without becoming.